This episode of Rebuild It was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rebuild It. This is our finale of the 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT 392.
Hear me. So we're going to take this thing on its first drive. We're going to finish up a couple odd and ends things we didn't get finished up in the last one, and we're promised to keep it on this test drive inside the United States. We're not going to Egypt this time around.
That's good because I got a little car sick last time. So, see what we can get done here. If you remember on the end of the previous Challenger video, we started taking off the stripes. And it took 2 hours to get it off just the rear spoiler, and then because it's a different material back there. And then once we get onto the trunk and then the top of the car, it's made of a different kind of vinyl. It comes off easier, but it still takes quite a bit of time. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that, get this other stripe off. We'll do that real quick and then we'll finish this project up. Alright, so I finally have all the stripes off of this thing. And here you can see the difference between where the stripe was and where the stripe wasn't. So that all needs to be buffed out. And I will start on that and hopefully it'll look good when I'm done. So we've got the stripe off and everything buffed. You can still see traces of it, just you can't feel it, but like if you get in the right light you can see where it was, but there's no way to get that off without sanding down. You never know how much clear coat's on there, so that is a very dangerous proposition, so I'm not going to do that. You'd have to really know it had been there before you can see it, but it's really good. Next we'll do a drive. I think is the next thing on this video. Alright, the 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT 392. First drive. What does it feel like? Compared to all the other stuff I've had. The throttle is probably my favorite throttle we've had on any car. I'd say even better than the ZR1. It's got instant response. You just flip it and the RPMs just instantly go up with the throttle. So that's really cool. It's hard to creep around. It wants to go faster than you want to go. It feels like the car feels like more of a luxury car because it's so roomy in here and the seats are real plush, and it's got heated and cooled seats. I got the cooling on the seats right now. The steering wheel is heated if you want it to be. I have not tried the manual version yet. You can flip this over to manual and do your paddle shifters. We might try that later, but I think it's got every option that was available. I don't know if these SRT 392s all had every option, but this feels like it does. It's got the adaptive cruise and just everything, but man, I'm not even touching the pedal. It's just barely am, and it just wants to go. So we'll see what it's like when we get into a spot out on the road where we can actually
feel like the response when we got it from a standstill. And man, it's probably the nicest interior. Would you say it's the nicest interior car we've had, even more than the ZR1?
The ZR1 was a 2009.
10. No, I don't remember what the ZR1 was.
Whatever the ZR1 was. This is like 5 years newer than the ZR1 was. So we've got, I mean, Alcantara wasn't really around whenever the ZR1 came out, especially not in like mass production vehicles. I mean, we didn't have, the ZR1 had a touch screen, but it was like super laggy and kind of dated already. And so, I mean, having this big whole honking touchscreen in here with all these, track apps and all that kind of stuff, it feels like more of a new age muscle car, whereas the ZR1 was kind of like the last of like the analog cars.
All right, so now Andy's driving it for the first time. He's used to his 5.0 Coyote Mustang. It sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
For being a stock exhaust, yeah, it sounds pretty good. The tone is great. It just needs to be louder, I think. But
for an old man, it's about right.
Hear that, all you old men? If you want a car that sounds good from the factory, get one of these.
Sounds good, but not obnoxious loud.
So, kind of like what Dad was saying, I am, first of all, going from a 2013 Mustang. This interior is huge. I feel like I can't even reach the other door, which in my car is not even difficult to do at all. And so I feel like I've got the visibility in this one is better than like the Camaro that we did earlier. Like I remember the visibility in that one just being terrible. You remember that too?
Yeah, the windows are so short.
Mm-hmm. The visibility in my Mustang is good. This one is about the same, and then the Camaro was really bad. The paddle shifters here, they feel nice. Like if I just wanted to downshift. Like I'm in 7th right now. Go like sit down to 6th, 5th, and like I'm only at 2,500 RPM. But they feel good. They're pretty responsive for not being, like a dual clutch or anything. They're not bad. This one is it's so nice. It's like the modern luxury muscle car. It's like everything that you could possibly want in a muscle car and not giving up any of the niceties.
Yeah. Back in the day, all the old muscle car companies, they would have their strict muscle car, and then they'd kind of make a luxury version of that, like the old Mustang, back in the 60s. They made the Mercury Cougar, which was the luxury version of the Mustang. Same way with the Firebird is on the Camaro. It'll be interesting here in a little bit. We'll show you guys all the different modes that we can put it in when you get to SRT. Like I click the SRT button down here and it changes our screen to show where you can put your power. Like you can set it to different, like default, custom, sport, or track, and that turns on like different parts of the car to make it do whatever you want it to do. It's got a valet mode. It's got race options. We'll show you some of that a little bit later.
Oh, look. It seems like we've got a little bit of a straightaway here. I think we should just go ahead and
How do you compare this to the ZR1 on that part of it?
Oh, the ZR1 was so much faster.
This was what, 480 something?
485. The ZR1 was 642. If I remember. So, plus this has so many more gears. So it's like I don't know if you could hear it right there on the video. When I just got in it just ever so slightly, it dropped 2 gears. Like it was ready for me to punch it.
Is this an 8 speed? I
think that's what we said. Yeah.
The ZR1 was just a manual 6, but this is definitely number 2 on the performance cars we've ever done.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it beats the 5.0, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, the 5.0 had 420 horsepower from the factory. This is 485.
Yeah. This 5.0 sounds better.
Yeah,
although it's a lot louder. This one sounds really good, but it's not as loud.
And there's like a 1,000-pound weight difference between the Challenger and the Mustang. Challenger is like, they call it the boat because it weighs so much and it kind of handles like you're on water. But man, this thing it's so, I keep harping on the whole luxury thing, but man, this thing is so comfortable. It's so roomy. It's got so much just extra stuff. Whereas like in my car, even though there's like a 2-year difference, it feels like the interior is like 10 years behind this one.
Dodge, they always been that far ahead on the interiors as far as like the touchscreen is like very high quality or really good quality even for today, and this is a 15
Mm-hmm.
This is 7 years old.
Yeah, it's a little bit slow. I've noticed that, like when you just load the SRT pages, it takes a little bit to catch up with whatever you're doing, but the resolution is like significantly higher than, like, I've got a 2016 Flex, and the resolution of the screen on this one is eons ahead of that one.
Really?
Yes. Like the backup camera in this one is clearer. It's a lot nicer experience.
I got the G-force gauge on right now. Go around a curve and we'll see what the G's are.
So I'm gonna just turn on my cooled seat. I can feel my buns cooling down.
So here's our green G-force gauge. When he gives it the gas, it shows G's in the back. When he gives it the brakes, it shows G's in the front. See that? So then you go around the corner, it shows G's left or right. There's also an engine gauge that shows your horsepower, torque. What else we got? Gear. What gear you're in? You're in 7th. Now you're in 8th. Oil pressure.
34 horsepower, eh?
Yeah, you're not using hardly anything. You're just kind of coasting.
Let's slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, slow down and then kind of gun it.
0.
Man, you're getting good gas mileage.
Incredible gas mileage in this Challenger. I don't know why everybody doesn't have one of these.
Whoa, 437 horsepower. Man, it didn't take long to get to that, did it?
Just at our fingertips. Or 2 tips, I guess.
All right, so we're here at our personal test track to see what kind of time this thing does around the track. And we're hoping to hit 30 seconds. What do you think we'll get?
This thing's pretty quick. I think we could probably do it in 25.
We'll see.
Hey, we got 21 seconds. Well, between 20 and 21, check this out.
Woo!
That was significantly faster than what we were hoping to get. That's pretty impressive for this thing.
Sweet. All right, so we're gonna try a minor launch with this thing. I don't want to roast the tires or blow something up and all that, but I do want to see how the launch control works. So let's look at our screen here. Right now it's on our gauges. It tells what all of our, there's different gauges you can look at. But we're gonna go to hit our SRT button down here. And that gets us to the SRT pages, which allows you to go to track, sport, custom, default. We're gonna go to track. You can see everything turns red. Then we're gonna hit track, or we're gonna hit race options. Launch control is already hit. And launch RPM setup, we're gonna have it launch at 1500 RPMs. So what that means is I'm going to hold the brake down, I'm gonna put it in drive, hold the brake down, floor it, and then let off the brake, and it's gonna launch at 1500 RPMs. All right, it's gonna limit it at 1500 RPMs at the launch. So it might just go like that, I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, here we go. It's in drive, foot on the brake, ready?
Yep.
Man, that was the lowest setting.
Yeah, that was that was a baby launch control is what that was, and that still kind of caught me off guard.
That was better than the ZR1 as far as spinning them.
Well, it shifted, so that
Very funny. You'll remember not when we did the ZR1 launch, I was so freaked out that I forgot to shift. So we
stayed at
first
80,
gear.
80 mile an hour in first gear. That was good. I was impressed.
All right. Okay, so I'm heading back to the house where I am going to creep down this gravel road that's so long that goes back to my house. Like I usually go like 7 or 8 miles an hour, and hopefully my one neighbor, whose name shall remain anonymous, is already home for the night and does not pass me on this road because he loves to just dust me out whenever I get a clean car. He always drives this old Ford truck. Thank goodness for Avalon King. This is a great company that sent us this awesome product called Armor Shield 9. You can see right here. And what this is a ceramic coating kit, and it comes with everything you need to ceramic coat a car. Now some cars, like the size of this Challenger, is so big that it probably takes 2 kits. But we'll see when we do it. First, let's show you what's in it. So it comes with in a really nice box. It has your ceramic coating, obviously, in this really cool
bottle. Not sure. I guess that's glass. You got gloves for protections, your applicator pad, your nice microfiber cloth. These are the little applicator things that go around your pad. This card is what pushes that inside your pad, gives you a nice little decal and instructions. And so the optimal method of applying ceramic coating, which is not what we're going to do in this instance because we just have a freshly painted car. But if you had a car that's been out in the sun and had to deal with, you know, how your clear coat gets rough out in the sun, you wash your car first, then you clay bar it. Surely you guys car guys have clay barred cars before. Then you polish it, and then you're going to use an isopropyl alcohol wipe. Wipe it down. That gets rid of any kind of residual waxes or anything that's left on the car, because you want nothing on that clear coat before you put this ceramic coating on, because whatever is under there is trapped under there. Okay, so you want it off. So then you apply your ceramic coating. What we're going to do is we are going, since we have a freshly painted hood and front fenders, all this area right here is what we're going to focus on right now. We are simply going to wash it with a pH neutral shampoo, they call it, which is a wash, and that's going to strip all that stuff down from when they buffed it after the paint. Then we're going to do an IPA isopropyl alcohol wipe just to make sure, and wipe it all down with that, let it dry. Then we're going to use our Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating. All right, we're back here at our test track again after applying our Armor Shield ceramic coating, and this thing looks beautiful, I must say.
It is slick as snot, let me tell you.
But we could have such decreased wind resistance from the Armor Shield that we beat our awesome time last time. What was it last time?
We had like 21 seconds or something.
You know, if we could beat that by a second, then,
or maybe half a second, being realistic.
Just because we're so slick now. You know, you almost can't even lean on it.
Let's test it and see how it goes.
Well, what was it? What? Not.
Armor Shield 9 is not guaranteed to improve your car's speed in any way. Sure, the ceramic coating we applied made the water spots, dirt, and grime less likely to stick to the Challenger for the next 2+ years. Sure, those little dust particles and grime chunks would normally add weight to the car and throw off its incredibly designed and delicately engineered 100% wind tunnel inspired profile. Sure, that might make a difference in the grand scheme of things when you really take a step back and think about it. We're not saying this will make your car faster, but we're also not saying that.
All right, so we'll head on back to the house now and do a price breakdown. You can see what this thing cost us. All right, here we are with the price breakdown of the 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT 392. We had a winning bid from Copart of $15,400.
Hey, don't put that over our face. Put it up there. Thank you.
What did you think of the winning bid? Did you think? I think I've heard you say before you thought we spent too much.
I think we spent anywhere from $3,000 to $2,500, maybe too much on this car.
Buying it, you mean?
Buying it, yeah.
Okay. Copart fees on top of that, $1,281. Taxes and license, $522.59. Trip expenses going to get it because I took Paul and he eats a lot. $364.19. If I go by myself, that would have been $100. Horn, $44.40. You guys remember? I mean, this is months back when we first did this stuff on the car, but the belt tensioner was tore up. That was $87.80. The throttle body was hit in the wreck. That was the first thing we switched. 176.02. Airbag, 441.05. I can't remember. I think that was the dash airbag, I think.
So, because that seems like a lot.
The coolers, you remember all the coolers were smashed in the front, the condenser, the radiator, all that stuff. 688.41. The dash, the actual replacement dash, we bought new from Mopar, $1,006.95.
There's a lot of real estate in that dashboard too. We were talking about how much room is in that thing.
Yeah,
Half of it's dashboard.
yeah, it's huge. And another reason all this stuff is high is because we bought all Mopar parts too. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the big scene we had showing us all the boxes around, and it was all Mopar. So radiator support, $280.03. We had to send the SRS module and seatbelts off to Safety Restore in Massachusetts to get them rebuilt and restored. So that was $309.94. Refrigerant. Remember, this has the
Not the
not
normal
the
stuff.
normal refrigerant, but the
Mhm.
newer stuff. That's like 3 times the price.
Like $70 a bottle.
Yeah, it was $126.69 just for the refrigerant. The airbag on the steering wheel, $389. Headlights, $795. Clock spring, because we had the airbag melted the wires in the steering wheel, $159. Console trim, if you remember the little leather trim around the shifter, had a cut in it. We replaced that with a new leather one, $125. Name badges, like on the front, the Challenger and SRT badges up on the front grille, $129.34. The new windshield, $300. The hood, $884.43. The paint, $2,270.01.
Remind me, what did we have painted again?
We had the hood painted, both front fenders, the rear quarter. It was a lot. It looks really beautiful in the sun.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay, here's all the parts for the bumper and grill. That was like, this is the most complicated bumper grill setup I've seen on any of the cars we've done. It was just like tons of little pieces and parts. $1,731.58 for all that stuff on the grill. And the bottom spoiler piece wasn't even damaged. So that would have been another several $100.
Goodness gracious.
Fluids, oil, and antifreeze mainly, $167.84. And then miscellaneous nuts and bolts and clips, $43.09. The grand total of $27,723.36. So, what do you think about that? Are we even going to be able to get our money back?
I don't think you should have brought Paul with you to pick it up. I think that's what wrecked the budget single-handedly. No. So we were kind of talking about before we filmed this entire price breakdown that we think that Mopar parts are just like, what would you say, like 30 to 40% higher than just like normal other stuff that we've rebuilt.
Yeah, they are definitely a lot higher. Like a dash for this was $1,006, and I just priced a dash for a 2019 Chevy Silverado, which is a humongous dash, and it was like $500 and something. So doubled on the dash.
And the Silverado one, that's a leather wrap dash.
Mm-hmm.
So those are super nice.
Yeah.
So like, why are Mopar parts so much significantly high? I don't know if it has to do with like parts availability, or if it's just, I don't
know, but it's worth a lot because they all fit. If you've ever done this before and bought aftermarket stuff, a lot of times the fitment is not right. And so you get it in and it's a nightmare trying to get it to all look right and everything. So you don't have to worry about that. When you get the Mopar stuff, you just slap it on there and it fits. But you pay for it. So will we get our money back? Are we going to lose money on this? What do you think? This car is a SRT 392, which is one step down from a Hellcat.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people said that not many people bought this one because you spent so much for just the interior mainly, and the Brembo brakes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing that this had that the rest of them didn't. So
we were talking about how much more of like a luxury car this one was, and that a lot of that is attributed to the interior.
yeah,
The other ones would have been a lot cheaper materials. It wouldn't have felt as cushy. You don't have Alcantara, on your seats, and then heating, cool, everything. Heated mirrors, heated steering wheel, all that stuff. So
So we knew that we were going to eventually have to do a Challenger, just because we liked the car. You know, we've always liked the way they look, and they look. It was probably the best, one of the best remakes of an original, when they redid all those back several years ago. We both like the Mustang, and both like the Challenger, and it looks really close to the old original Challenger. And we just wanted to do one. It's so cool. But you know, $27,000. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get our money back or not on that. That's a bunch. All right, so it's been about 5 days since we ceramic coated this thing, and man, it looks slick. So I'll take it back to the house and do my normal 5-mile-an-hour drive out the gravel road, and we'll see what happens. All right, and here I go creeping down the road, and my nasty Mr. Tan Truck neighbor must have some kind of homing signal or something to know when I'm getting close, because that's when he usually comes barreling down the road whenever I am trying to get home. But at least this time I have some protection. My armor shield, ceramic coating. There he is, moving out right on the floor, doing 90 miles an hour down a gravel road. There he is. You will not win! I have ceramic coating! Okay, so after I got dusted by the neighbor, came home and I rinsed off the Challenger and left it wet. Left all the water droplets on it, whatever would stay on there, I left on there, and went to bed. And so then 12 hours later, this is what the water droplets look like. And we have hard water in our area, and so you can tell once the water droplets evaporate, there's these little rings of mineral deposits left on the paint. And if you've ever had a car that you tried to get these off of, especially a black car, they are almost impossible. I mean, I've seen people try to use vinegar. There's all sorts of different products to get the water droplets off, and it is really, really hard. So I thought, well, this will be a test on the ceramic coating, so I just washed it with just regular soap like normal, rinsed it off, and then toweled it, and just kind of lightly buffed with a microfiber cloth the water droplets on the hood, and they just buffed right out. So I was super impressed with that, because man, if that would have not had the ceramic coating on there, it would have eaten into that paint, and it would have been really hard to get off. I mean, I would have probably had to use some kind of a buffer or something to get them off and get it back down to where it looks as good as it did right after it was painted. So I am impressed with that.
Well, guys, that's it on this finale episode of the 2015 Challenger 392 SRT Hemi Dodge Mopar car.
It was a fun project, a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be when we bought it. What else do we want to say?
We give a huge shout out and a thank you to Avalon King for providing us with their Armor Shield 9 that we got to use and test out on this car. And if you like this week's video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up down below, and make sure that you share it with your friends if you enjoyed. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
See you next week.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.